Totally fine. Yep, totally.
Okay. Okay, we got the little button, so it should be good. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, cool. It's so funny that you were freezing because my team is so used to it. I literally freeze all the time. So I'm actually at my brother and sister-in-law's right now. My sister-in-law is due with our second nephew on Monday, so we're kind of waiting for that. So I don't know how their internet is when I'm at home in Georgia. It's the worst. So I apologize if I end up freezing or anything like that. But what's up, you guys? I know Stephanie just gave a little intro, but my name is Morgan, and I'm really excited to chat with you guys about Instagram. So, like I say, Stephanie and I are in a chat together. I actually, I don't think we met, but I heard Stephanie speak, and one of my coaches was with me at one of the Charleston Super Weekends. So was really excited when she approached me to talk about Instagram, and I love talking about this stuff, and I'm excited to give you guys just some really super basics about Instagram, and also just a few of my tips too. So even if you're not a new coach and if you're like, okay, I'm vibing with Instagram, I'm good, hopefully maybe you can take something out of this or be able to share with your new coaches as you're helping them get started as well. So we will get started. I know Steph introduced me a little bit, but I have been coaching since August of 2016. I think it's always just nice to know a little bit about coaches' backgrounds in general. So I know she gave kind of my coaching accolades, but I was a collegiate athlete. I was a Division I gymnast. So health and fitness was not always part of my life. Fitness was always part of my life. The health part came once I started with Beachbody. But I was an event planner. So after college, I worked in events, and it was when I moved down to Georgia from, I'm originally from Kentucky, to follow my now husband who works in college athletics. So he is busy and working all the time. And I found myself that I took a job just to move down here, and was super unhappy and unhealthy, and that's how I found Beachbody. So I was a customer first and then a coach, and I kind of hit the ground running from the beginning. Maybe some of you guys have that story as well, but that's just a little bit about me. I kind of like to always know a little bit about who I'm hearing from. But so let's just dive right into Instagram 101. So we're going to start from the top, and we're going to kind of work our way down. So from the top, we have our name and our picture. And I know this seems super basic, you guys, but it really is important because you have to remember this is your business. This is not it is fun, Instagram's fun, don't get me wrong, but this is your business, and you have 2 seconds to make an impression on someone when they come to your page. If they're going to follow you, if they're going to like you, if they're going to scroll your feed a little bit, if they're going to engage with you. And ultimately, we want people to follow us back and then to continue to engage with us, right? So you have to catch them with that picture and with the name. And I put the name on here because there is nothing more frustrating to me than when I can't find someone on Instagram. So if you can't type in your first and last name and find your Instagram, even if you have a cute little handle, I know I have an assistant principal on my team, one of my diamonds. And so she doesn't want her first and last name as her handle, right? But so her students don't find her, but you should be able to have something that's identifiable so that when people are searching for you, they can find you. I think that's really important. So making sure your name is there, as well as if you do have something cute and fun for your actual handle, make sure your name is on your Instagram profile so that people can find you. And then make sure your picture is you. This is your business. Your kids are cute. Your dog is so cute. I love them all. Your friends from college are fun, or whatever it is, whatever age you're at. But make sure your picture is you. People want to see who is following them, who's engaging with them, who they're following back. So make sure that is a good picture of you right there in the beginning. So your bio description, keep it short and sweet, okay? You're just using this as something to connect with people. So when people come to your page, the first thing they're going to kind of see is your picture, and then they're going to move to your bio, and that's going to kind of give them an idea of what you represent, what you stand for, what you're doing here on this platform. So, for me, and this changes over time, and I would say I am not the most creative person at all. So kind of takes me a little bit to figure out what I want to say here to make it sound good. But you want something in there that kind of describes a little bit about you. I would hope there's something in there about coaching and fitness. Please do not put Beachbody coach, Like mine says, using fitness to inspire others. And then for my coaching part, mentoring women to find their happy and healthy. I'm a wife, I'm a dog mom. So you want to make sure that's kind of short and sweet, getting to the point, but describe a little bit about you and like what you stand for and what they're going to see on your page. And then your bio link. I know this, a lot of times what I see is new coaches, especially, just kind of plug their Beachbody site page in there. And it's just not super attractive, right? And Instagram is a platform that you want it to be appealing to the eyes. So make sure you have like a link tree or a tap link or something like that, whether you have a website, if maybe you do blogging as well or something like that, but you want to make sure you have a link in there that is not just like your site. So that's kind of from the top down here, just really getting into it. So let's talk about your feed, right? That's like not necessarily the most important thing, because stories are super important now as well, but your feed is really, really important. And take it from someone, and you're about to see before I click to this next slide, I will say, if you are posting on your feed, kudos to you. Like, that is where it starts, and you're not going to get better, and you're not going to learn your style and what to post and what to say and how to share your story unless you're posting. So if you're doing some of the things that I say not to do, like, take it with a grain of salt. Know that posting and showing up is the first step, and that's really important. But our feeds are really, really important. So I'm going to show you kind of how I started, right? So this was then when I started coaching, and you can see, like, these are just straight up some of my pictures. This is horrible and embarrassing to look at, but this is real life. Like product shoves is what I call these, because it's like when you're shoving product in people's face instead of, showing like a cute picture of your shake. Like, now I would show my shake in a plastic cup with maybe some like coconut whip or something on it to, like have a little bit of like curiosity marketing versus a bag of Shakeology. Okay. Like, don't do those product shoves. We want to show our products and show what we're using, but we don't need to like shove it in people's face. Like grainy, terrible pictures. Okay. Like, it's just not good. This is like stuff that I used to do. Let's see, move on to the next slide. It's just not attractive. Lots of words over my pictures, like down here, like I don't even know what I was doing here, like fight for it posted there. Just like bad selfies, dark pictures. It's just not the greatest. And like, say, Instagram is something that's supposed to catch your eye first, right? It's a picture platform. So you want it to be attractive. You want someone to come to your page and be like, oh, okay, let me stop like what I'm doing, see what they're about, check in with them, and ultimately decide if they're going to follow you. So that was then. This is now. As you can see, my page is much more cohesive. I use a preset. Pictures are catchy. You want to have pictures that are going to, make someone stop and be like, what's going on here? Like, what is she doing? Good lighting, like learning good lighting and poses. I know this took me a long time, and this is where you just kind of have to practice. Like, I was not someone that used social media. I didn't take pictures of myself, maybe like a lot of you. I mean, for the most part, I think as coaches, like, there are some of us who are maybe using social media a lot before, but a lot of us aren't. And so I didn't know how to take selfies and set my camera up and use tripods, and like, that was completely new to me. So a lot of my pictures were literally me holding my phone like this versus finding good spots in my house where the lighting is nice, looking at some other even just Instagram bloggers or other coaches, not to take their ideas, but to use as inspiration, because you don't want to see the same picture over and over and over on someone's feed. So you want to have multiple poses, different backgrounds. Like you can see here in this picture, there's tons of different backgrounds. I'm in my kitchen, I'm on my porch, I'm out, in front of the front door, I am in front of a brick wall. So you want to have lots of different backgrounds, because it does make your feed just look more cohesive. It makes it look more attractive. And then, like, say, using a preset. You guys, you can get these from Etsy. You can make one as well. That is not my thing. But I got mine from Etsy for $5, and I use it on all my pictures. That way you have that same kind of flow and feel to your page. Mine is kind of light and airy, but you can have one that's like moodier and darker. Like one of my coaches, it has more like orange hues to hers. So you can kind of use what you want. And that was something that I was really against when I first started coaching, and when kind of the transition started happening to making those feeds look a certain way. I was like, no, I want to be me. Like, I don't put on makeup all the time. I don't fix my hair. Like, I'm not very good at posing for pictures. So I wanted it to still feel like me. But the thing is with Instagram, like our feeds are kind of that, I hate saying highlight reel, but your feed is kind of where it's supposed to be more pretty and where you see everything and see those nice pictures. And then your stories are where the real life comes in and where my hair is like this and sleepy eyes and all of that. So that's where your story. So you do want your feed to look really nice, and that filter is just kind of part of that. So I would say if you don't have a preset or a filter that you use to kind of make all your pictures look nice, then I would do that. If you have questions, I see like the thing blinking. I'll come back to that too at the end. But your content matters, and what you're posting on your feed matters. So, you want to tell your story, and that is a big part of it. Like getting the catchy pictures to catch someone's eye, but then having your story there. And not every single post has to be like 10 million miles long. Like you can kind of mix in, like I'm a very sarcastic, witty person. So sometimes I'm just like putting little quips in or, some humor into my posts. Like they don't all have to be really long, but throughout your page, you should be telling your story and people should get to know you, the authentic to you, what you represent. And this is what I like to tell my coaches is like, you have your 5 things. So if you've done like an avatar training, I'm sure like Stephanie has had someone talk to you guys before about that stuff and figuring out kind of those 5 things that you represent. Like if you could take everything that you do and put it into 5 buckets, what would it be? Like for me, I'm a wife and a dog mom. I love entertainment. So I talk a lot on my stories about different TV shows and stuff like that. Obviously we have fitness and coaching. Now a big part of my story is I just recently went through a miscarriage, and I'm a very big advocate for that. So like that's a huge part of me now, and I share those things. So as you go through your feed, you should kind of be able to pick out and say, okay, this post is about, coaching. This post is about like food and fitness. This post is about like lifestyle, like my husband and my dog, or community, whatever it is. So you want to kind of look at your feed and know that it's like representing you. And you want to bring value to people. Like when you're posting your content, you want to think like, is this going to bring value to someone? What can they take from this? And, sometimes it is a funny quote. Like it doesn't have to be like say super long every single time, but you want to make sure you're sharing tips and tricks with people or sharing motivation. We are health and fitness coaches. So maybe it's sharing about challenge groups or sharing a workout or sharing some clips or whatever it is. You want to make sure you're doing that. And then of course you want to share your personality. So you can see like here, in that top right corner, like I'm goofy, I'm weird. You could see it on the last slide too, where I'm like pulling my hair and sticking my tongue out. Like you want to share your personality. Like I like to be fun. I'm really bubbly. So you want to make sure you're doing those things. And what I like to tell people, kind of how I figured out like how I want my feed to look, is think about what attracts you to people's pages. Like if you're just scrolling Instagram, what's going to make you stop? Or if you are searching for new friends to find, because that's how we find people to join our challenge groups and our teams, right? Is we're looking for our new best friends on social media. So when you're out and you're kind of finding people and looking for people to follow, like when you find a page where you're like, yes, this is my girl, this is like, we're going to be besties, like what attracts you to their page? Is it selfies of them? Is it, pictures of their dog? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I have a golden retriever too, like we're best friends. Whatever it is, maybe it's their baby, but think about what attracts you to people's page. I found that I often was attracted to like groups of girls together. And so I was like, when I look at my page, I don't have hardly any of those pictures, so I wanted to start posting things that I was attracted to. So I try and talk about community a lot more because that's super huge to me. And I'm always trying to make sure you're posting those things. So when you're thinking about what you want on your feed and the content, think about those 5 things that represent you, but then also think about what you like to see on other people's, because that's really how we know like what we want to post. And that's how we start to attract like our people, from posting what we want in return. So hopefully that all makes sense. Let me pause this real quick. So that's the feed. Let's talk about Instagram stories. Okay. If you are a newer coach, let me just tell you how lucky you are to have Instagram stories, because we did not have this when I first started coaching, and it is the bee's knees. It's the best. And this is how you're ultimately going to, that LKT, like get people to like you, get people to know you, to truly know who you are. And then ultimately they need to trust you to become a customer or a coach on your team and join your team in general. So Instagram stories, I feel, is really where you can really like develop that like no trust, because people see your feed, but like say that is kind of the highlight reel of your Instagram. That's where things look prettier. You have those posed, put together pictures. And then your Instagram stories is like the real behind the scenes. So like say, I like to share, like, you want to make sure you're sharing yourself and sharing like your personality. I think that is so, so, so important. So I have like this little video that just shows like me, because this is me, like just quirky. So here's the, oh my God, it's so good. Okay, so like that's just me. I'm just weird. I like to have fun. Like I mixed my mixed berry and my lemon pre-workout together, and I'm like, you guys, this is so freaking good. I'm about to drop to the floor. So you want to make sure you're doing stuff. I'm always like dancing, like in my stories, you know, like I say weird stuff and I don't change that. Like that's me, and the people that I want to do this with me are going to connect with that. So I can't worry about like someone thinking I'm weird or, you know, like, what the heck are you doing singing? So I'll be like, good morning, like on my stories, like that's just me. But that's how people get to know you. And they also get to know you by you sharing real life. So that's where in your stories, you want to be sharing stuff like your kids and your dog, like here, talking about The Bachelor all the time, because that's where people get to know like what you like, what you don't like what your day-to-day life is. And that's when they truly feel like they know you. Like I have people all the time that message me and they're like, I don't know you, but I know you. Like they know our lives, and this is how they get to know that. So I think it's just really important on your Instagram stories to really share anything and everything. And if you think it's silly, it's not. Like just share it and see how people respond. And I think a lot of times like just figuring out like what gets people to respond and gets people in your DMs is how you can start to build those genuine connections with people. So my people go crazy over TV shows. Like that's my people. So I post a lot about that. I do like recaps of TV shows. Like I'm like, oh my God, I just watched How to Get Away with Murder. Please message me. Let me know what you thought. Like people love that. They love seeing my husband. He's a grump butt. Like he's not smiling at anything. Anytime I post him, people love it. So like you just want people to get to know you. And this is where you can do that, is on Instagram stories. So just some like fun examples for you guys.
Morgan, that Bachelor one, the Listen to Your Heart one, I'm pretty sure is the one that made me message you, because
Really?
I was like, oh my gosh, she's my girl. Like I need her to talk to my people.
Yes, people love it. And that's like, I will tell you, like so many of my coaches come from Bachelor connections. Like we're just like the Bachelor Nation team. That should have been our team name, whatever. But it's so funny. But like people love that I just am a TV junkie. It's bad, but I don't even care. Like it's my life. It is what it is. But I talk about it all the time. And that's like how I connect with a lot of people. And then like say like through Nick, through my dog, like people love seeing Bella on my stories. So just sharing that stuff, as well as your workout clips, of course, like sharing some of that stuff too in Beachbody. But you just don't want to be a walking Beachbody billboard. Like what we represent as coaches is ourselves, and we get to share ourselves. So it's what you want your feed and your stories to be, is a representation of you and how you use Beachbody as a resource to make your life better. Ultimately, if you seem fun, happy, and I'm not saying don't be yourself. Like if you're not a bubbly person, like don't be a bubbly person, but don't be a Debbie Downer on your Instagram all the time, because who wants to join a Debbie Downer? Like, not me. So this is just me saying, hi, show up. Okay. Just needed a picture to plug in there. So that's what you get. But my number one tip, like if you don't take anything from this, like be active and be consistent. Like show the heck up, because I can promise you that's how you're going to build. That's how you're going to ultimately like gain a following. That's how you're going to get people attracted to your page. That's how you're going to build consistency, like with your followers. I do like the same thing every day. I have a routine, and people look for that. And I think people crave routine, whether they have it or not. They're going to crave it in other people. So having a routine, like if people don't see me, my brother-in-law was just asking me this yesterday. We were sitting at dinner. He was like, do you ever get like just annoyed, like you don't want to have to show up on social media? I'm like, I mean, you know, like there are days, but I'm like, if I don't show up, I get DMs. I'm like, are you okay, girl? Like what's going on? Like people know your routine and they know what to expect from you. So they know I'm going to make my Energize. I'm going to be chatting with whatever I want to chat about for the day on my stories before I work out. They're going to see my normal life on Mondays. They're going to see my recap of The Bachelor. Like, you know what it is. So they expect that and people like it, but that's how you're going to build ultimately over time. And if you're not consistent and you're not posting on your feed, and I'm not going to say like you need to post every single day, like different coaches at this point are going to tell you different things. When I started, it was post, 2 times a day, and still to me, so like even posting 1 time a day seems like not that much. So I still am like a very avid post once a day person, but if you're a post like every other day, or 4 to 5 times a week, however that works for you. But ultimately you need to be consistent. There needs to be new posts going up on your feed. You need to be on your stories. You need to be showing people the real you. And that's how people are going to join you later on down the road. So be consistent and show up. Okay, so just a quick little thing. So that's kind of the main like look. So the next thing is hashtags. So just really quickly, how to use your hashtags. So this is kind of how I ultimately learned that made it easiest for me. I learned this from Jen Richardson. If you don't know who she is, she's an Instagram guru. And this is how she uses hashtags. And so it really works for me. I don't use hashtags to find people, but I use hashtags as a way for people to find me. So you want to kind of go back to those 5 things, those little buckets that you had. Think about, like say mine are like wife or kind of newlywed. We've been married for 2 years. I still count newlywed. Dog mom. I have Christian in there. Now my miscarriage is one of those 5 things that I kind of hashtag and talk about. You want to think about like what you're sharing on your feed. So like fitness, community is one. And those are the hashtags you're going to use, because you're going to have different sets that go with what you're posting about. So once you have those 5 things, you want to search something in that category. So, if you go like, this is just the one I'm using most recently. So like miscarriage awareness. Okay, search that hashtag. Then when I click that, you can get some other ones as examples. But what you're going to do is, what helps me is, once I find that hashtag, I'm kind of scrolling the post and I want to find one that catches my eye. So when I find a post that catches my eye, I want to look for like bigger accounts that use that hashtag. So I want to look for someone that maybe has, 5,000 above followers. They don't need to be like huge accounts, but you want them to have like a decent following, someone that blogs a little bit or talks about different stuff and is kind of building their Instagram as well. And then once they're using that hashtag, you go and look at what other hashtags they're using. So you see a big group of hashtags that are going to relate to that category that you're searching, and you just copy and paste those into a note on your phone, whatever it is you use. I use Note on my phone because it's just easiest to be there to copy and paste over to Instagram. So, and you can kind of use a few different ones. So then once you find like, 5 or 6 hashtags from that grouping that you like, you put those in a note, go and find another post, get a couple more in that same category, make one big grouping on your phone. And I'll show you like how mine looks. And then you just repeat that for other categories. So now I'm going to do that for newlywed. So I'm going to search newlywed diaries, find someone using that, look at what other hashtags they're using, copy and paste those into a new note in my phone for my newlywed. So if I'm going to post about me and my husband, maybe I'll use that group of hashtags that's about like wife, newlywed, post that into my category. So I'll kind of show you just so like, because then it's really easy to search. I don't know that you can even see this, but it's like dog mom hashtags is the name of my note. And then when I click it, I have just like a few different groupings. So it's like really, that's not going to work, but there's one. So there's like a few different ones. So I'm not always using the same ones, and I'm going to go and change those out maybe every few months, just so you're keeping up using different ones. But I use about like 10 to 15 depending. And it goes back and forth. Honestly, this is something like you never really know. Right now, I've been putting them in my post. I've heard that's kind of the thing, but Stephanie might hear something different. The last I had heard is in the comments attracts spam. So I've been putting them in my posts, but like I say, I don't use those to find people. I use those as a way for other people to find me. So that's just kind of how I use hashtags. And then just a quick little blurb on like how to grow your following. So this is what I find is best in growing my following, and what I like to do. Like say, I don't use hashtags to find people. Number one, the easiest thing is follow your friends' friends. Okay. If you go to someone's page and you follow some of the same people, when they come to look at your page, it's going to say, Morgan also follows Emily, Stephanie, Kayla, Haley. Like it's going to say who they follow. So they're going to be more inclined to follow you because they're like, oh, she knows some of the same people that I know. So go to one of your friends' pages, Go to, their followers, and you can go from there to find people who you would vibe with. The next thing that I do, and I've been doing this for quite a bit, is find a few accounts that you love that are in your like niche, right? So kind of one of those categories, whether it's like, say I vibe with The Bachelor, so maybe it's like one of my Bachelor contestants that I really like. She's like one that I follow and was one of my favorites. Or whether it's like an account that it's like a dog mom or something like that. You find something kind of in that niche where those followers are probably going to have similarities with you. So maybe if you're a mom, maybe it's like a product or a brand that you love, and you would think like, oh, if I love this brand, these other people that love this brand might vibe with me. Or like a big one for me right now that I've been getting a lot of good followers from is Enneagram. Like I'm into the Enneagram, so I have an account where she does these really cute like graphics. I'm sure you guys have seen them on Instagram. And I go to ones that are my Enneagram number, and I use that to find new followers. So that way you're following people who are engaging with their account and their content, and they're more likely to have something in common with you. So when they see you follow them, like I am a big like follow people, and then the whole unfollowing thing is just a mess without having apps to help us, because Instagram hate those. But I follow people and I like to look at their page. So I don't follow people that are private. I like to look at their page, and I do not do the 3-5-1-5-3-1 message. Like I don't like to go ahead and send a message. And I personally, this is what I tell my coaches: follow and engage with people how you would want to be engaged with. If I open up my Instagram and I have someone that liked 15 of my pictures, I'm like, ugh, what? So I don't do that. If that doesn't bother you, go for it. So like for me, I'm like, I'm going to like maybe 2 of their pictures. If I see something that like is true and authentic and genuine, and I want to comment on it, whether it's like, oh my gosh, that skirt is so cute, or whatever it is, comment, but don't force it. These are your people, so you're just finding them. You're going to follow them, like a few of their things. If they have stories, watch their stories, because that's an easy way. Like a lot of times I just slide into people's DMs through their stories. I just did it the other day. Some girl was like, posted about how she's been married for 3 months and she still forgets to use her new last name. And I'm like, girl, I've been married for 2 years. I forget. So it's an easy way to connect with people. But that's kind of how I do follows. So, and that's how I've grown following. And then that's pretty much it. So those are my social media Instagram 101 tips. This is just for questions now. So let me stop sharing. And let me scroll through the chat. I don't know, Stephanie, how you guys do questions, if you want them to pop them in the chat or if you guys unmute or anything like that. But let me see if there's any on here.
I was trying to unmute. Either way works. There's a ton of questions in the chat box, so I can kind of start to go through those if you want.
Yeah, so Victoria asked, coaches who are just starting, like trying to get their Instagram cohesive and stuff, like do you just start? Yeah, just start. Like I did not delete out anything for sure. Like say those pictures that you saw of the then, those are on my Instagram. Like I literally just scrolled and snapshotted that. So everything is still on there. I never like deleted or anything. It's just start, and from there it kind of starts to flow better. And there are definitely times even in mine where I feel like it gets kind of in a funk and I'm like, ew, this grouping just didn't go together, and it's fine. Like it is what it is. Like we're all human and not perfect, and we learn as we go. So do I use a specific grid? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Charlotte. If I like use something to plan, I use Planoly. Is that what you were asking?
No, I don't currently, no.
Is that what you were asking though, by specific grid?
Yeah, like do you follow like some? I'm more pen and paper, so like I would literally like write mine out versus going Planoly. But would you sit there and be like, okay, every 3 I will post a transformation or something like that?
Yeah, so I don't follow a specific like schedule like that where I say I'm going to post this here. I do use Planoly because I do like to see how it's going to look, because sometimes I have a really good idea for a post and then I notice like 2 pictures look the exact same right in a row, And I'm like, okay, let me change that. So, but you don't have to use that. And I think, so I pay for Planoly, and I really need to stop because I'm pretty sure Plan, PLANN. If Kayla is on here, drop in the chat, because I think that's what one of my Star Diamond leaders uses, and it's free. So if you want to use something like that, you can. Honestly, like I can send it to Stephanie if you guys don't have something like this. I feel like you probably do, but every Sunday in our team page, we have like a planning graphic. So we say like what our goals for the week are, when we're going to power hour, but then we also put like, what's your plan for this week on social media? Like, you don't have to fill it in. Like, you don't need to know exactly for every 7 days, but have an idea of like, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to post a transformation this week. I haven't posted one in a couple weeks. And then on Thursday, you know, I know I'm going to have a big paycheck because my cycles are looking up this week. So maybe I'll talk about coaching and payday on Thursday. And then on Friday, I want to post like a fitness Friday, whatever it is. So we have that we use in our team. And it helps me as well. So that's more kind of pen and paper. You would just jot down like what you're thinking, as far as like what your content wants to be. And it does help a lot too, to then have better content. So if you're not just trying to throw something up in the moment, a lot of times if you can think through what you want to do, it helps your content to have that value and kind of know what you're going to say beforehand. So I do think that helps a lot. Yeah, someone else said they used Plan, so I would look into that. Does anyone else have any questions? If someone is saying, why am I so pretty? Thank you so much. You're so nice. But that might have been directed to someone else. Do you talk? Yes. Okay. Do you talk daily in your stories? Personally, I would say talk 1,000 times over don't, but also caption it because people watch on mute. I literally have been sitting here watching my sister-in-law watch stories on mute for 4 days. So I like to caption what I'm doing, but I like to talk because I think the people who do want to listen, like they're going to know you so much more than you just posting like a series of pictures with words on them. And I do that too, but I like to talk pretty much every single day on my stories. There have been very few days, like far and in between, where I'm not like active in some small capacity on my stories, even if it's just like 2 clips that are like, hi, I'm super unplugged today. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye. I still want people to like see my face and hear my voice. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, you want to act like the coach you want to be. So Victoria had said, you're presenting yourself as a coach and someone who wants to be looked at as a leader. So like, this is your business. And did I freeze? Am I good? Okay. This is your business and you want to act as the coach that you are. So when I like was finally like, okay, I need to get my ish together on social media, you know, like if I want to be an elite coach, I need to act like that. And I need to have a social media that represents that. So you do, you know, you don't have to be an expert. I am by no means an expert, and or any technology or social media, but you do want to, attempt to present yourself in that way, but still be yourself. Like I'm pretty sure in a normal job, I would not be falling on the floor after I drink some pre-workout, like, come on. But, yeah, someone else said slide into IG story DMs. It's honestly the best way. Later. So Jesse said Later is another free app that's good to use. Kayla confirmed Plan is so good. Victoria, I would just Google, like, that's how I figure out a ton of stuff. Honestly, you guys, just in general, like Google is your best friend as a coach, or YouTube. But if Plan is similar to Planoly, you just upload a picture and then you can, I don't use it to schedule. So I just put the picture in and then I put the caption in and then I always post at the time that I want to post, and it just automatically like takes me over to Instagram and allows me to paste the caption in there. I use Lightroom, so I bought my filter on Etsy, or my preset on Etsy. I don't know why I keep calling it a filter, but I mean, that's what it is. But I bought my preset on Etsy. It downloads. It gave me instructions. You guys, I am terrible at technology. Like that presentation, that was like the most basic Instagram presentation. I'm like freaking proud of that, because I don't do stuff like that. So if I can figure it out, I promise you can. Most will come with directions of how to download. And then it like uploads into Lightroom, which is what I use. And then it's like 2 clicks to add it to every single picture that you do. And then I had one of my coaches like slightly adjust my preset back in January when we were at our retreat to make it a little bit better that I liked. And then I saved that one. So it's super, super simple. And again, YouTube, Google, I promise you can figure it out. So like I say, that's my preset. It was called like Mocha or something. Just like search one, and also like ask people if you have like a blogger friend or someone. Like I got mine because I asked someone. Like I loved theirs, and I was like, "What preset are you using?" And they told me, and then I bought it. So if you like someone's preset, ask them. Don't be afraid to just be like, "Yo," and maybe buy some. Like sometimes you can buy like multiples. So you can like find on Etsy like 10 different ones. You can play around with what you like. Cool. Does anyone else have any questions or anything?
This was awesome.
Good.
And I'm already getting from the coaches. This was amazing.
Yay. I'm so glad.
So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with anybody. Does anybody want to unmute and ask any final questions? We have a few minutes left. If anyone wants to ask anything. I feel like you just blew my Instagram out of the water. I'm just like, okay.
Thank you. It's so funny because literally like ask anyone. I was like so adamant to not like have a pretty, so it means a lot that you say that, because I do think it's like been a work in progress, and it is really fun. And a lot of it, like I said, is just like looking at other stuff that you like, because I don't find myself creative in that way at all. Like I don't feel like I'm a creative person. So even just figuring out a bio and then trying to take pictures, like it just takes a lot of trial and error and figuring out, like, look at other people. Like, don't be afraid to look at other people. And we never want to like copy anything, just like you would never like copy and paste another coach's like caption, but take stuff and make it your own and figure out what works for you, and use that as inspiration to like build your own feed. I think that's the best like advice that I can give.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't think anyone needs to put a whole lot more or different energy into it than they do their normal Facebook posts and stuff. It's the same thing. It's just kind of prettier on Instagram.
Exactly.
And then in your stories, you just get to be real.
Sorry, you broke
My
up.
baby has like transferred. Oh, it's okay. My baby has like gone across the whole floor of the upstairs, and she doesn't crawl yet. All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, I thank you guys all for jumping on. Thank you, Morgan, so much for joining us. We're actually going to combine team calls again next week with Morgan's team. So we see Morgan and her team again next week, and we're going to be talking about getting out of our own in the business. I'm excited for that.
Yes.
And all right, have a great night. Thank you guys. For workathon all day Sunday.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Oh.